I'd like at this time to invite Leah Stevenson from Pets Plus Us to make a small presentation, a short presentation on the topic of pet insurance, and is it worth it?
Thank you, Bob. Merci. Je m'excuse, je ne parle pas très bien le français, donc je vais présenter en anglais. Je vous remercie. I'm Leah Stevenson, and I'm here with Randy Valpy at the back of the room, who is the top dog at Pets Plus Us. Today, I'd like to tackle a question that pet insurance companies get asked all of the time. Is pet insurance really worth it? To answer that question, I'd like to share some insights and some industry data about pet insurance in Canada, about what we know about what pet owners really think about their pets, some trends in veterinary medicine, and finally tell you a story about a puppy who joined the Pets Plus Us community on our Head Start trial. So let's get started. We know there are almost 14 million dogs and cats in Canada. Does anybody know, or can anybody guess what percentage of those dogs and cats are insured? Anybody? 5%? 5%? Who said half? Half of that, yes. Oh, sorry. Oh, I missed a slide in there. Surprisingly, there are less than 2% of pets who have insurance in Canada. And that's remarkable to me, because pet insurance has been available in Canada since 1989. And we also know what pet owners really feel about their pets. What I'd like to do is ask you to consider these stats. 72% of pet owners first greet their pet before they greet their spouse or significant other or any other family member. 63% of pet owners celebrate their pet's birthday. And 87% include their pets in holiday celebration. Clearly, pets have now become another member of our family. Now I'd like you to think about these. 75% of all dogs and cats will become injured or sick in the course of their lifetime. 1 out of 3 pets will need emergency medical surgery every year. And as importantly, the advances in veterinary medicine and their associated costs are on the continual increase. We know veterinary medicine is not what it was 20 years ago. Whatever can be done for us can now be done for our pets, and yet those costs aren't covered. For instance, oncology treatments for pets that are now available can cost pet owners thousands and thousands of dollars. We live in an age where we can provide better care for our pets to help them live longer and healthier lives. The need for pet insurance right now has never been higher. I'd like to introduce you to Rudy and his parents, who we are going to call Mr. and Mrs. Smith. They are members of the Pets Plus Us community. I'd like to share their story with you. Rudy is a black Labrador retriever, in case you didn't know, who was born December 7th, 2015. When Rudy was 7 weeks old, his breeder enrolled Rudy into our Head Start trial program. For those of you who are using our trial, thank you very much. For those of you who may not remember what our trial program consists of, it provides your new puppy owners with 6 weeks of complimentary accident and illness coverage for up to $1,000, a $100 deductible per incident, 80% reimbursement of costs associated and arising from an accident and illness. As importantly, we provide pet owners with complimentary services during this trial period. One of those services is our Pet Health phone line, which is a 24/7 telehealth service, if you will, where pet owners can call and speak to veterinary technicians. This is particularly important when their own veterinary practice may be closed, and it can potentially save pet owners hundreds of dollars if it saves them from a trip to an emergency practice when it wasn't really necessary. The Pet Poison Helpline is a 24/7 animal poison control service where pet owners can call and speak to veterinarians and toxicology professionals about a potentially poisoned pet. This service is readily available to all pet owners and to veterinary practices now, but for a cost of $49 per call. Our Compassionate Care Line is another service brought to you by Pets Plus Us, where pet owners can call and speak or access our in-house professional counselor when they're dealing with really difficult situations over accidents, illnesses, and even pet loss. I'll remind you as well that these services that we provide to your new puppy owners are also available to you as CKC members using our Head Start trial. And finally, when puppy owners and owners roll over from the trial into a paid policy, we waive the first month coverage. So now back to Rudy. After all of that talking, he's now aged a week. He's 8 weeks old, and he's ready to go home with his new parents, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Rudy's home with them for 2 weeks when Mrs. Smith looks into Rudy's eyes and sees that his eyes are becoming very cloudy. So she takes Rudy in to see her veterinarian, and her veterinarian then says, I'm going to ask you to go see a veterinary ophthalmologist. 10 days later, Rudy goes in to see a veterinary ophthalmologist and was diagnosed with nuclear immature cataracts. The ophthalmologist prescribed eye drops and also recommended that Rudy had his cataracts removed. The cost to the Smiths was $275.33 for the consult from the ophthalmologist and for the eye drops. The Smiths are protected under their Head Start trial program and submit a claim to Pets Plus Us for the total amount of the consult and the eye drops. We reimburse them later that month for $120.26, and that's based on the 80% reimbursement and the $100 deductible. A few days later, after they submitted their claim and before their Head Start trial expired, Rudy's parents rolled over, we like to say, or enrolled into a paid policy with Pets Plus Us. And they selected the accident and illness more policy. And that policy entitles pet owners for coverage up to $7,500. We have flexibility for our pet owners to choose what level of copay they want. The Smiths selected 90%, and they also selected a one-time $300 deductible. 2 weeks later, Rudy was admitted for bilateral cataract surgery. The cost of the preoperative work and the cost of the surgery cost the Smiths almost $5,000. A couple of days after the surgery, the Smiths sent in their claim to us. You can see here in April now, I like to point this out, their first premium payment was due. They rolled over in March, and you may recall that their first month was complimentary. So their first premium payment came out almost $60. They paid for the surgery and for the consult, totaling $496.42. We reimbursed them $4,165.28. This is paid now from their accident and illness more policy, which was calculated on 90% reimbursement and their one-time $300 deductible. Another week later, the Smiths sent in another claim. This claim now is for medication required for Rudy to heal and recover, and also for a medication refill. They submitted that claim to us. We reimbursed them for 90% of that claim. And that's because their one-time $300 deductible had been already satisfied. So they submitted a claim for $119 to us. We reimbursed them $107.22. So I want you to consider this. If Rudy was not part of our trial program, and if Rudy's parents had not enrolled Rudy into a paid policy, the Smiths would have been out of pocket $5,355.89, and Rudy is only 5 months old. We have saved them $4,332.95. So in summary, Rudy's condition, it was present at birth, but the signs and symptoms were not detected until well after the waiting period of the trial, which is 48 hours, by the way. And that's why that condition was covered under the Head Start trial program. Rudy suffered 50 to 70% loss of his eyesight before he had the surgery. And after the surgery, his vision has dramatically improved. When this case was developed, that was the sort of the end of Rudy's story at this time. But since then, Mr. and Mrs. Smith have presented us with 2 additional claims unrelated to the cataract condition. So I ask you, is pet insurance really worth it? Well, I hope that I have presented some compelling information for you to promote the value of pet insurance to your new puppy owners. As Dr. Richardson likes to explain to his new clients and pet owners that come to visit him at a practice, he says, think of pet insurance as something like your car insurance. You have it in case you need it, but you hope you never have to use it. I invite you to check us out on PetInsuranceReview.com. We are very pleased to say that we are the #1 rated pet insurance company on the site. Randy himself will personally respond to any review, be it good or bad, that is on the site, and provide his direct personal contact information should anybody want to reach out to him directly. I hope that you will feel confident when you are enrolling your puppies into the Head Start trial program, and know that we will be there for them and for you. Thank you. Merci.